In the ancient land of Canaan, Jacob loved his son Joseph most, a child of his old age, gifting him a vibrant long coat. Seeing their father's favoritism, Joseph's brothers harbored bitter hatred and could not speak kindly to him. Joseph then shared a dream where his sheaf of grain stood tall, while his brothers' sheaves bowed down. His brothers retorted, "Will you indeed reign over us?" And their hatred intensified even further. He dreamed again. The sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed down to him in a cosmic display. Even his father rebuked him for this grand dream, yet quietly kept the saying in his mind. Later, his brothers went to feed their flock near Shechem, far from their family home. Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers' well-being and the condition of their flocks. A man found Joseph wandering and directed him to Dothan, where his brothers had moved their flock. From afar, the brothers saw Joseph approaching and immediately conspired, saying, "Here comes the dreamer." They plotted, "Let's kill him, cast him into a pit, and see what becomes of his dreams." Reuben, overhearing, tried to save him, suggesting they cast him into a pit instead of killing him. When Joseph arrived, they stripped his coat of many colors and threw him into the empty, waterless pit. As they sat to eat, an Ishmaelite caravan appeared from Gilead, carrying spices and going to Egypt. Judah proposed, "What profit is killing our brother? Let's sell him to these Ishmaelites instead." They drew Joseph from the pit, selling him to the traders for 20 pieces of silver, who took him to Egypt. Reuben returned to the pit, found Joseph gone, and tore his clothes in despair. The brothers took Joseph's coat, killed a goat, and grimly dipped the beautiful garment in its blood. They brought the bloody coat to their father Jacob, asking, "Is this your son's coat?" Jacob recognized it, cried that an evil animal devoured Joseph, then tore his clothes and mourned for many days. He refused all comfort, vowing, "I will go down to the grave to my son." Mourning. In Egypt, Joseph was sold to Potiphar, a Pharaoh's officer, and the Lord made him prosperous. Potiphar saw the Lord bless Joseph's work, making him overseer of his entire house and property. Joseph was handsome, and after a time Potiphar's wife cast her eyes on him, saying, "Lie with me." He refused, citing his master's trust, and asking, "How can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" She spoke to him day after day, but Joseph firmly refused to listen to her advances. One day, when no one else was in the house, she caught him by his garment, demanding, "Lie with me." He fled outside, leaving his garment torn in her hand, escaping her wicked intentions. Seeing the garment, she called the housemen and falsely accused Joseph of attacking her. When Potiphar came home, she showed him the garment, claiming Joseph tried to shame her. Potiphar's anger burned, and he put Joseph into the prison where the king's prisoners were bound. But the Lord was with Joseph, even in prison, granting him favor in the keeper's eyes. The keeper committed all prisoners to Joseph's hand, making him responsible for everything done there. Later, Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker offended their lord, and he placed them in the same prison. Each of them dreamed a unique dream in one night, troubling their spirits greatly. In the morning, Joseph saw their faces were downcast and kindly asked why they were sad. They explained they had dreamed, but no one could interpret their troubling visions. Joseph confidently stated, "Don't interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams." The cupbearer told his dream. A vine with 3 branches budded, blossomed, and brought forth ripe grapes. He then pressed the grapes into Pharaoh's cup and placed it directly into the king's hand. Joseph interpreted, "The 3 branches mean 3 days. Pharaoh will restore you to your place." Joseph pleaded, "Remember me when you are restored, and mention me to Pharaoh, for I was stolen." Seeing the good interpretation, the baker told his dream, 3 baskets of bread on his head. In his dream, birds ate the bread directly out of the top basket on his head. Joseph grimly interpreted, the 3 baskets mean 3 days. Pharaoh will hang you, and birds will eat your flesh. On the 3rd day, Pharaoh's birthday, it happened exactly as Joseph said. Cupbearer restored, baker hanged. Yet the cupbearer did not remember Joseph. He completely forgot him in his newfound freedom. 2 full years later, Pharaoh dreamed he stood by the river, and 7 fat cows emerged to feed. Then 7 thin, gaunt cows came up, devoured the fat ones, yet remained gaunt themselves. Pharaoh woke, slept, and dreamed again. 7 good ears of grain on one stalk appeared. 7 thin ears, blasted by the east wind, sprang up after and swallowed the good ears. His spirit troubled. Pharaoh summoned all Egypt's magicians and wise men, but none could interpret. Then the cupbearer remembered his faults. Recalling the young Hebrew servant from prison, he told Pharaoh the Hebrew had interpreted his and the baker's dreams perfectly. Pharaoh hastily sent for Joseph, who was brought from the dungeon, shaved, and changed clothes. Pharaoh said, "I've dreamed, and no one can interpret, but I hear you can." Joseph answered, "It is not in me. God will give Pharaoh an answer of peace." Pharaoh then recounted his 2 troubling dreams to Joseph in the throne room. Joseph declared the dreams were one, a revelation from God about what he was about to do. The 7 good cows and ears signify 7 years of great plenty throughout all Egypt. The 7 thin cows and empty ears mean 7 years of grievous famine that will follow and consume the land. The dream doubled, because God's plan is established and will quickly come to pass. Joseph advised Pharaoh to choose a wise man, appoint officers, and store grain during the plentiful years. The plan pleased Pharaoh, who wondered, "Can we find a man in whom the Spirit of God is?" Pharaoh told Joseph, "Since God showed you all this, there is none so wise as you. You shall be over my house. All my people will be ruled by your word. Only on the throne, I'm greater." Pharaoh gave Joseph his signet ring, clothed him in fine linen, and placed a gold chain about his neck. Joseph rode in the 2nd chariot, with cries of "bow the knee," announcing his new authority over Egypt. During the 7 plentiful years, the earth brought forth abundantly, and Joseph gathered immeasurable grain. Then the predicted 7 years of famine began. It was in all lands, but Egypt had bread. When all the land was famished, people cried to Pharaoh, who said, "Go to Joseph. Do what he says." Joseph opened the storehouses and sold grain to Egyptians, and all the earth came to Egypt to buy. Jacob saw grain in Egypt and commanded his sons, "Go buy for us, that we may live." So 10 of Joseph's brothers went to Egypt, but Jacob kept Benjamin, fearing harm would befall him. Joseph's brothers came to Egypt and bowed themselves before him with faces to the earth, fulfilling his dream. Joseph recognized them, though they did not recognize him, and he spoke roughly, asking, "Where do you come from?" He accused them, "You are spies. You've come to see the nakedness of the land." They protested, "No, my lord, we are honest men, 12 brothers, one is gone, the youngest is with our father." Joseph declared, "By this you shall be tested. You will not leave unless your youngest brother comes here." He then put them all together in custody for 3 full days. On the 3rd day, Joseph said, "Do this and live, for I fear God. Let one brother stay bound." He commanded, "The rest carry grain home, but bring your youngest brother to me to verify your words." The brothers spoke among themselves, realizing, "We are truly guilty concerning our brother Joseph." They didn't know Joseph understood their words, speaking through an interpreter. He turned away and wept. Joseph returned, took Simeon, and bound him before their eyes, holding him captive. He commanded their sacks be filled with grain, their silver secretly returned, and provisions given for their journey. On their journey, one brother opened his sack and found his silver, making their hearts fail them. They returned to Jacob, recounted everything, and found all their silver in their sacks, making them afraid. Jacob cried, "You have bereaved me. Joseph is no more, Simeon is no more, and now you want Benjamin." He refused to send Benjamin, saying, "If harm comes to him, you will bring my gray hairs to the grave in sorrow." But the famine remained severe, and when their grain from Egypt was consumed, Jacob told them to go again. Judah reminded Jacob of the man's warning, pledging to be surety for Benjamin and bear the blame forever. Israel relented, instructing them to take gifts, double silver, and Benjamin, praying for mercy before the man. So they went down to Egypt again with Benjamin and stood before Joseph. Seeing Benjamin, Joseph told his steward to bring the men in and prepare a feast for noon. The men were afraid, thinking the feast was due to the silver, and explained it to the steward. The steward reassured them, "Peace to you, do not be afraid. Your God gave you treasure. I received your silver." He then brought Simeon out to them, reuniting the captive brother with his family. Joseph arrived at noon. They bowed to him and presented their special gift. He kindly asked, "Is your father well, the old man of whom you spoke? Is he still alive?" They replied, "Your servant our father is well. He is still alive." Seeing Benjamin, his own mother's son, Joseph was deeply moved and rushed to weep in his chamber. He washed his face, composed himself, then returned and ordered the meal served to his brothers. They were seated by age, to their astonishment, and Benjamin's portion was 5 times larger. Joseph commanded his steward to fill their sacks, return their silver, and put his silver cup in Benjamin's sack. In the morning, the men departed, but Joseph soon sent the steward to pursue them and accuse them of theft. The steward confronted them, asking, "Why have you repaid evil for good? Why have you stolen my lord's silver cup?" They protested innocence, saying, "With whomever it is found, let him die. The rest will be your slaves." The steward searched, from eldest to youngest, and to their horror, the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. They tore their clothes in despair, reloaded their donkeys, and returned immediately to the city. Judah and his brothers fell before Joseph on the ground, overwhelmed with despair. Joseph declared, "The man with the cup shall be my slave. The rest of you go in peace." Judah came near and pleaded, explaining their father's life was bound up in the boy's life. He begged, "Let me remain as your slave in place of the boy. Let the boy go up with his brothers." Then Joseph could no longer control himself. He cried, "Have everyone leave me." He wept aloud, so loudly that the Egyptians and Pharaoh's house heard his heartfelt cries. "I am Joseph," he revealed. "Is my father still alive?" His brothers were terrified, unable to answer. "Come near to me," he said. "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold. God sent me to preserve life." He explained the famine had been 2 years, with 5 more years without plowing or harvest remaining. "God sent me ahead to preserve a remnant and save your lives by a great deliverance." He urged, "Hurry, tell my father God made me Lord of Egypt. Come dwell in Goshen near me." He fell on Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept on his neck in a tearful embrace. He kissed all his brothers and wept over them, and afterward they began to talk with him. The report reached Pharaoh's house, and it pleased Pharaoh, who told Joseph to bring his family. Joseph gave them wagons and provisions for the journey, telling them, "Do not quarrel on the way." They returned to their father in Canaan and told him, "Joseph is still alive and ruler of Egypt." Jacob's heart fainted from disbelief, but seeing the wagons and hearing Joseph's words, his spirit revived. He declared, "It is enough. Joseph, my son, is still alive. I will go and see him before I die."